The press has just released the fact that the housing market in the UK is going to absolutely boom next. Should we be taking everything that they say for granted, or maybe thinking for ourselves a little bit? Okay, so fundamentally it's good news for those that are in the property market already, or maybe even thinking about jumping in. But just straight away, I don't want to muck about. Like, you've got to start thinking for yourselves rather than just reacting to the press all the time. This is why. They've never made it more clear and obvious for you. It was only November last year where Savills were predicting a 3% fall in the property prices. And now, what, 6 months later, there's been a 5.5% shift to a 2.5% raise. Like, that's 5.5%. That's quite a decent return on its own, and they've moved that much. All that really says to me is that, and I've said this forever, like, the property market is never as good or as bad as they say it's going to be. The press is there to sell you papers and headlines, whether they be super good but usually super bad, is what creates interest. Our job as investors is to sort of, take the information in, but not to just react like sheep off the back of everybody else's, and everybody else being the shepherd, in this case the press, probably off the back of banks and lenders. So our job is to take in that information and make good calculated decisions based on good common sense. Now let me give you the common sense of the UK housing market. We are a small island. We let like 1 million people into the country last year. We do not build anywhere near enough houses. So on a very simple supply and demand metric, in an island where we're very precious over our green belt, so we don't build everywhere, there is a huge housing crisis. Like, I know you all know enough about business to know that if the supply and demand metric is that way based, and the last 50 years of the housing market shows one thing and one thing only, that when you zoom out, property prices are going to go up. What we need to focus on as smart investors is not riding the waves of hysteria with the press. Like, oh, it's a good time to buy, it's a terrible time to buy, it's going to crash, it's going to boom. It's going to do neither of the above, or both of the above in the short term. But you are smart, and you are going to buy property for the long run. You're going to buy assets, investing in those tangible, insurable, leverageable assets that we know and love, and you're going to hold them for many, many years. And over that time, you're going to create cash flow, be going to ride the strong wave of capital appreciation in the UK, which will still be there. I'm sorry if I just went off on one there, but listen, to bring it back to basics, they might be right, they might be wrong. The guarantees are in the long run. I think they predicted something like a 20% rise in the next 7 years or something. Like, that kind of seems realistic. If we can bring up the graph, last 50 years, this is what it looks like. The supply demand metric hasn't changed, and property prices will continue to go up over time. We are always preaching here at the MPP Group about time in the market. The time period that you spend in the market is where you grow your wealth, not timing the market of what the press is saying right now is a good time, or last November was a really bad time. All right, whatever. Guys, start thinking for yourselves, think long term, think investing, and go get what you deserve.